It is now 6 o'clock, so we can start this meeting. Roll call, please, Ms. Gaines.
Kurt Smith.
Here.
Gustafson.
Here.
Perry.
Here.
J.R. Smith.
Here.
Brabner. Mayor.
I am here. Our invocation and pledge will be led by Councilmember Shane Perry. If you please rise.
Father, I want to thank you again for giving us the opportunity to be here, represent the citizens of Spanish Fort. Father, just give us the wisdom and guidance to make the decisions that you would see us make for our fellow citizens. Father, just thank you for our first responders, give them safety and health in every endeavor that they take for us, Father. I just want to thank you again for being here today and the wonderful day you've given us. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Ask for the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, work session July 1, 2024, the regular meeting July 1, 2024. Are there any corrections? If not, stand approved as written. Committee reports, Ms. Gaines.
No report.
Mr. Connor.
Mayor, no further report other than to remind you that we have a resolution addition regarding a settlement in the opioid litigation at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Chief Barber.
Yes, sir. We did put out on social media today, we were going to be conducting our annual civilian firearms safety course. It'll be October 19th this year. So those that might be interested, all the information necessary is on our social media pages. But October 19th will be our annual course.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Hugh.
No report, Mayor.
Shannon.
No report.
Casey, have anything?
No report, Mayor.
Junior Council.
Junior Council started. We had the first meeting of this third group coming through, and they have picked a chairwoman. Haley Few is in the crowd tonight. The vice chairman is, or vice chairwoman, I should say, is Darby Smith. So they have yet to pick their secretary yet, but they are well underway, and so we kind of look forward to the projects that they will start as they start this year.
Thank you, Carl. Mary, you have anything from the school commission?
No, Ms. Roberts is here to present.
Great, thank you. We'll open up the floor for public participation. If you'd like to address the council, please give us your name and address. Come to the podium and hit the speak button.
Good evening. My name's Kevin Wood. I live at 12132 Squirrel Drive in Spanish Fort. Been living here for about 19 years. And so I came here tonight to talk about a couple of issues. And I'm kind of representing some of the folks out here that are tennis players, speaking on our behalf. And I'm talking about the lights out at Spirit Park and the maintenance. It's kind of two things, but they kind of go hand in hand. We play recreational tennis out there. We also play in league tennis. And in turn, we go play in Fairhope or Daphne, Gulf Shores, Mobile, and their lights work perfect. The garbage is picked up. The restrooms are clean. When we play home here, it's totally the opposite the last couple of months. It's, lack of a better word, it's embarrassing. And I know we're better than that as a city, and it doesn't meet our standards. Spirit Park is a beautiful place, don't get me wrong. Love the facilities, the whole thing. It's just lacking in attention. And I feel like that if it was the baseball field lights out, we'd get them fixed. I think it's been lacking on the other side. I went there last Wednesday night. 3 courts were out with lights. 3 had lights out on them, so they were kind of hard to play on. And then there was 1 flickering. So, and then when we have league matches, sometimes the women have had to go to Timber Creek to play a match, or even try to go down to Daphne to get one. So it's just really not something that it needs the attention. With that said, I know I've heard that we may be getting new lights, LED lights, coming up soon, and that's great. But right now, we need to take care of the little things before we go forward with other things, in my opinion. Like I say, it's a great facility, but Sunday I went up there. Garbage cans are on the ground. They're not even up on the nets. They're full. I took pictures, but I'm not going in. This is to work with you guys, just to bring it to your attention. And then I went to the bathroom, and I go to the bathroom. I don't really notice it, but then I went into the ladies' bathroom, and it was really disgusting. And I was thinking, I wouldn't let my daughter go in this place. It's just not. We were the envy of people when it was built. I think we're behind everybody else now, and it's just not us. And I would like a commitment out of you guys to give it attention, get the lights fixed, get the garbage taken care of, and get the facility back to where it needs to be. And that's really all I have is, and this is, and for every one here, there's 10 people that couldn't make it. And then for BB, let's make Spanish Fort great again. Okay, so just kidding.
Well, I'm sorry to hear your experience wasn't good, and we'll get with staff. You are right in your assessment. We're looking at the next budget cycle to do something on the LED lighting for the courts, which will help tremendously the lifespan. I know we've had some issues. I know we had a lift that was out that took a little while to get fixed so we could fix the lights. But as far as the weekend cleaning up, we have started to bring in staff on Saturday and Sundays to address that, at least half a day. So I'll get with the personnel, supervisor personnel, and see if we can straighten it out for you. But I appreciate your understanding.
Quick question. You say your next budget, you're talking about in October.
October 1, right?
So what about the lights now?
The lights are fixed now, according to Shannon. Isn't that right, Shannon? They fixed them, what day was it?
As of Friday, there were 3 lights out that were not bulbs, they're ballast, and I've submitted a work order to an electrician to come rebuild those ballasts.
3 lights on one court, or 3 lights scattered?
3
through the-
lights across the courts, across all the
Across
courts.
all the courts?
Yes.
So that shouldn't affect the ability to play?
No, they're spread out enough that it shouldn't, no.
Let us know, though. I mean, please, if there's a problem, we want to know. We want to take care of it. Okay. Yes, sir.
I'm Harry Holloway. This thing working? I guess it is.
Yes, sir.
I live at 30925 Blakely Way, right down the street. Live in front of the sidewalk bridge. Most of you know where that is. I've been there since October of 1993, before the city was incorporated. I voted to incorporate it. Many of us voted for it because we didn't want Daphne to try to take us over. Over the years, the traffic on Blakely Way has really increased. It's probably 5, 6, 7 times more traffic on that road now than there was when I moved there. And of course, the county maintained that road. I don't know what year the city took it over, but it wasn't 93, I don't think. But anyway, the county did maintain it some. They did maintain that there's a cover. I get water from both directions in front of my lot. There's a cover that goes under the street. That's the reason that little sidewalk bridge is there. And they put some stuff around it, and they helped me maintain it. Now, what I've done is I talked to Shannon and the mayor about seeing if they would cut the part right around the cover on that steep hill. There's a steep hill there, and when I go across there with my riding mower, because of the traffic, it's getting dangerous. And I used to not have a problem cutting that, but I do now. And the main issue I have is you're cutting a foot-wide strip right by the walkway, right across the street, but you don't cut mine. And I told him, I've talked to Shannon, I talked to the other 2 guys that were prior to him. I cut to the center of the culvert. I'll keep up around my mailbox. I keep up around my culvert. But that big culvert that goes through there belongs to the city. Now, I've gotten out there a couple of times and I've cut weeds out of it. I've cut trees down. It's got a tree growing in it now. And I just would like to see the city consider cutting some of the grass. I know you've got a policy that you say if it's in front of a house that you don't want to cut the grass. But this road has a lot of traffic. It's not like Blakely Forest or some other subdivision. And if it were level and the culvert wasn't there, I wouldn't have a problem mowing it, but it's pretty dangerous getting up on that steep place. You can drive by there and look at it. Now, it's got weeds on it now because I haven't cut it lately. I even took some pictures of it. So I'm asking the council to consider changing that so that you maintain the street, at least the part that the city owns. And it may be more than that, but the culvert, the street, if you measure from the center line of the street, at least 30 feet each way belongs to the city. It doesn't belong to me. So, again, if it were level, the other side is in much better shape. There are some other places on that street where there's culverts and things, but they're not as bad as the one that I have to deal with. So I'd appreciate it if you'd consider that and consider at least cutting that part that's dangerous to cut right there. I've talked to Shannon about it, and I've talked to the mayor about it, and I just think that needs to be addressed. I'd appreciate if y'all would consider doing something about that. The only other thing I want to mention, since he was talking about maintenance, there was a pothole out here at the end of City Hall. I finally showed it to, or talked to Shannon about it. He filled the pothole, but there's some things as the city grows, we're going to have to spend some money on maintaining the streets. And as I said, Blakely Way is probably one of the busiest streets in the city. It may not be any busier than the one over by the high school, but it's got much traffic. And I haven't counted the cars. That would be a good thing to do if the city would kind of do a count to see how many vehicles actually go through that street in one day, and I think it'll surprise you how many cars go through there. So I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Few responses. Certainly, traffic has picked up on Blakely Way. The city's grown a lot. There's no doubt about that. We do maintain all of our roads. We spend any given year $300,000 for repaving, pothole fixing, all those things. So we constantly are repairing roads and improving them. Potholes are a fact of life. Whenever we have rain, potholes come up, and then we go out and fix them. That's just the way it is. But we do have a repaving project list that's out there. It's rated. We have an outside agency that rates all of our streets, that tells us which ones need to be paved. It's not made by this council. It's made by the outside agency telling us which ones need to be done, which is we think is a very good way to approach it. As far as cutting right-of-ways, every street has right-of-ways. So if we started cutting right-of-ways for every street in our city, we wouldn't have enough lawnmowers or personnel to do it on a regular basis. I don't know how we'd do it. As far as the culvert situation, I think that's like a 12-inch culvert right there. Is that right? Or is it bigger than that? How big is that culvert right there? Shannon, do you recall?
Probably 16, no bigger than
16,
18.
yeah. But it's not, and you and I have walked your property before. You and I have walked your property before out there, and I know we replanted some areas out there and those things, but you know, it's just part of the right-of-way right there. I don't know, as far as cutting right there around the culvert, Shannon, we may look at doing something like that, but we can't be cutting right-of-ways. We would never be able to catch up with every street in our city. If you would, come to the microphone, please. And I thank you for coming. Appreciate you. There you go.
you're discriminating against certain, like me, I'm a tax-paying citizen. And you made a policy that you're not gonna cut certain areas, but you cut others. If you didn't cut any of it, I wouldn't be here.
I think
It bothers me, though, that you cut one side of the street right in front of my house, and you won't cut the other side. And it bothers my neighbors too now. You know, I can get a petition up and see if y'all consider it, but I didn't do that. But I disagree with the philosophy that you're not gonna cut grass in front of a house just because the house is there. And, Mr. Parrish that lives across the street from me, he's got 10 or 20 acres over there, and his house doesn't face the street, but y'all are cutting grass on the edge of his property, right down through there by the sidewalk. So I just don't like it because you're kind of deciding, well, we're gonna cut this, but we're not gonna cut that. I don't think that's a good policy. I guess one way to look at it is I wish you'd either cut all of it or none of it. But at least you could think about cutting it where it's dangerous for me to cut it. It's dangerous for me to get up there and cut that. I don't work for the city. I'm not insured by the city. I'm not paid by the city. But that culvert is a dangerous situation. Now, if you want to put culverts in there and level it down, I'll cut it. I cut a strip over there that doesn't belong to me. It belongs, there's a right-of-way through there, and I cut it because it's level and it's, you know, not dangerous to cut it. But it is dangerous. You can drive by there and look at it. It's dangerous to cut right on top of the cover. And it's steep right there on both sides. Shannon can tell you that. So I'll be quiet. I just disagree with that policy.
I will address one thing you talk about, how we do cut in some areas that's undeveloped, right there with sidewalk art. You know, I know Mr. Parrish lives way up here, and his house is way back over here, and I know his property goes all the way to probably that wooden bridge, but it's all undeveloped. That's why we cut right there, so people can walk on the sidewalk. The sidewalk's not on your side of the road, which is a little different. Shannon, I guess maybe we do need to look at this culvert and see what we can do to help straighten that out, because I don't want you out in the middle of the road either, 'cause that's not a safe situation. So we'll get with you. I know Shannon's off tomorrow, but let's get with you towards the latter part of the week and see if we can figure something out. Good enough? Anyone else? All right, moving to announcements. Congressman Jared Carl sent out a survey, Spanish Fork residents, asking for feedback on the Postal Service. Please fill it out. Let him know. And I have had meetings with Congressman Moore also, who will be taking that over. So he's well aware of our issues. The only way we're going to get a post office is to keep that squeaky wheel out there and see if we can get something going to make it happen. But we have been Washington consistently trying to get everything done, and we'll see where this pushes it forward. But please fill out the surveys if you would. There is no old business. On the new business, we have a couple of employee anniversaries we'd like to recognize tonight. We have a plaque for our library assistant, Cheryl Minshew. Cheryl, if you'll come to the podium. She's been with us for 5 years. Always willing to fill in when there's needed to be worked and things like that. Becky, who's got them? They're in my office. Let me get them. That's good. We're going to let you speak tonight. Cheryl's been with us for 5 years, does an outstanding job. a lot of positive comments from her. Her attitude's always wonderful. She's always here. It's certainly a pleasure to recognize her 5 years of service. And she said she's not going to speak, and I'm going to try to make her speak.
I'm good.
Thank you.
I work in the library because I don't have to talk out loud in front of people.
Perfect. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you.
We also got one here that's a little bit crazy. Chief Roger Few. He's been with the fire department for over 40 years, 43, I believe, something like that. He's been the fire chief for 32, is that right? 32 years? But here I am going to give him a 15-year plaque. He's been a city employee for 15 years. Chief Few and his department, they do a wonderful work. They're absolutely outstanding. First class ISO ratings are outstanding. It's a great pleasure to have him here with us. Chief Few, thank you for all you do. You want to say anything, Chief?
Well, you know, when we started this process to bring on some paid employees at the fire department, it doesn't seem like it was 15 years ago, but it was. It's been a whirlwind. We've had a lot go on, and we still have a lot of projects that we're trying to keep moving. So, thank you all.
Thank you, Chief.
42 more. Woo!
Now I'd like to recognize Ms. Tracy Roberts, chairperson for the Spanish Fork Public School Commission. That's another committee that does outstanding work. We're very fortunate, very blessed to have Tracy helping us with that, and certainly the committee itself do outstanding work. So Tracy, tell us what's been going on.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. So nice to be with you tonight. My name is Tracy Roberts, and I'm here as chairperson of the Spanish Fort School Commission to provide an update to our business. I want to thank you for allowing me this time. Dr. Shannon Smith from Spanish Fort High School is here with me, as is Steve Lemoyne, who's another committee chairperson. So I appreciate their support. And if you have questions that are better suited for the experts, Dr. Smith is here to help. Because I don't assume that everybody in attendance, although we've lost some tennis players, or watching online knows about this committee and its purpose. If you don't mind, I'll just remind those that don't that a referendum was held to establish the collection of additional 3 mills of tax for schools in the Spanish Fort feeder pattern in 2019. And the school commission was established in 2020 by the city council. And our now 10-member committee meets during the school year with school administrators and leaders and school board staff on funding requests for their schools that would not otherwise be funded through either local, state, or federal funds. These requests are for academic programs, school enhancements, and enrichment. So while we meet throughout the school year, it's our May meeting where we primarily meet to vote on funding requests from each school. Before these budgets ever get to us, though, they are vetted through the superintendent's office and his staff, the CFO, human resources, curriculum supervisors, and the submissions aren't even considered going to the superintendent and the school board without principal support. These budgets that you have reviewed and you have before you have been reviewed by the educators and by us by at least 2 committee meetings before approval. It's worth noting that each request from a school is viewed individually and can be voted on separately. So approved budgets for the 24-25 school year are in total $1,551,423. That's for all 5 schools. Revenue projections are anticipated to increase 13%, and the Spanish Fort 3 mill accounts managed by the school system have a healthy reserve due to higher than anticipated revenues and conservative spending, particularly in the early years and during COVID. So you have the budgets before you and for all 5 schools, and I'm happy to entertain any questions that you might have about those budgets that were approved in May.
I don't think you're hearing any.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. If you want me to come back and talk about any other aspects of the school, I can round up our principals, and I'd be happy to make any other reports that you need.
Thank you for what you do. Mr. Lemoyne, thank you. Dr. Smith, sure is good to see you back there. We appreciate how you handle everything in our schools and all the other principals. And, you know, we've grown an extra school in our feeder pattern this past year, which is a wonderful thing. So opportunities abound, and y'all doing wonderful work. So thank you so much for that.
We appreciate your support. Thank you.
I just want to say that being part of the Spanish Fort Public School Commission from the very beginning, you know, it was a challenge getting that one up and started, but since then, what it has done has just been truly remarkable, because you look at the sheer number of as Dr. Smith walked me down the Hall of Fame, the sheer number of 30-plus ACT scores that are pumping out of the high school, all of the AP classes in there. Then you look down at some of the STEAM programs that are in some of the younger grades and things like that. All you have to do is take a look and just get involved and see what they're spending this money on, and you'll see that it truly is a great investment in our kids. So
I just wanted to add that we're halfway through it. We did a 10-year term first time around. So in about 4 years, we'll be coming back and hopefully taking it out to 30, because that gives us more options of what we can do with that money if we have it on a 30-year term instead of a 10-year term.
Well, there's certainly no doubt that the program has proven to be very successful. It was a red letter date when that passed in our city, because it meant so much to so many. And not just to forget the city side where your property values went up and all those things. Those are all positives, yes, but the main thing it's doing is taking care of our kids and improving their chances in the world down the road. So that was certainly a red letter day within our city when that did pass. There's no doubt in my mind. Anyone else? All right, getting to the agenda, I'd like to present ordinance number 668, 2024, an ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise to Mediacom Southeast LLC for the purpose of maintaining distribution lines for the provision of cable television within the public rights-of-way of the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor, I know this item is being held over to the August 5th meeting because it's still in somewhat negotiations. Any discussion from the council? Hearing none, I'd like to present ordinance number 670, 2024, an ordinance granting a non-exclusive franchise to Comcast of Alabama LLC for the purpose of maintaining distribution lines for provision of cable television within the public rights-of-ways within the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama. David?
Mayor, this is a proposed franchise with Comcast Alabama LLC regarding the maintenance and construction of distribution lines for the provision of cable television services within the corporate limits of the city. We've been in negotiations with Comcast for a period of time, and they have now agreed to the terms and conditions of the proposed franchise. So this ordinance has been amended. It includes the new language that was agreed upon and is ready for your review and approval. So if a motion is made in the affirmative, it will be made as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 670-2024 as amended.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes. The ordinance is adopted, excuse me. I'd like to present ordinance number 672, 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, changing the zoning classification of certain property known as the Kirby PUD to a plan unit development and establishing the zoning classification of certain property as part of the Kirby PUD as a plan unit development. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, approximately half of this property is located in the corporate limits of the city, and half of it is located outside the corporate limits of the city. The property owner plans to annex that portion of the property that is outside the city into the corporate limits of the city, and they've requested to go through the pre-zoning process and have both properties to zones for a PUD or plan unit development. Attached as Exhibit A is a copy of the legal description of the property, and also attached is a map showing the location of the property, the corporate limits of the city, and a copy of the master plan layout, which has been approved by the Planning Commission. Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for the rezoning, for the pre-zoning request, and this is up for, I think it was up for public hearing at the last meeting, or is it tonight? And it was held over to this meeting because there were some questions or issues regarding how and under what circumstances a traffic improvements would have to be made at local intersections. There's been a traffic study that's been performed that calls and says that it warrants improvements to be made presently. The developer's representative or property owner's representative here and has said that they are in discussions with AlDOT regarding a final agreement on how and when those improvements would be made. And the developer's representative stated that he understands that any traffic studies required today or in the future as part of preliminary plat approval and review process for construction at the site would have to be met. And so under those circumstances and the fact that a subsequent annexation would have to occur, we have reviewed and discussed that it would be appropriate to consider the application. If you are inclined to approve it, this will be a motion to approve the PUD subject to compliance with all traffic studies today and in the future as required in the preliminary plat and final plat approval process of the subdivision regulations.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 672-2024, subject to compliance with all future traffic studies, present and future traffic studies, as required by the subdivision regulations.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
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 J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. I'd like to introduce ordinance number 673, 2024, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, changing zoning classification, certain property located at 30810 State Highway 181 from R1 to B3. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this property is presently occupied by Hank's Furniture, and the property was annexed into the corporate limits of the city by local legislative act and came in by default as R1. The property owners requested that the property be rezoned to B3 General Business District, which is consistent with the uses in the area and the use of this property. Planning Commission held a public hearing on July 8, 2024, and forwards a positive recommendation for this rezoning request.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? I'd like to announce that we have a public hearing August 5th at the City Council meeting to hear any comments in favor of or opposed to proposed ordinance. I'd like to present Resolution 1421, 2024, a resolution amending the Police Department Personnel Policy Manual. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this policy manual outlines the policy procedures for the Spanish Fort Police Department and is requested to be amended in accordance with the terms of the proposed amendment, authorized and subject to approval by the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Do I have a motion? Any discussion first? Excuse me. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 1421, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
I'd like to present Resolution 1423, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with NRT, specially trailers for portable restroom facilities at Integrity Park. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this authorizes the mayor to enter into a contract with NRT Specialty Trailers for portable restrooms at Integrity Park. The amount of the proposal cost for the design, build, and transportation and installation of the portable restroom is $60,804. A copy of the proposal is attached as an exhibit and is included and ready for your review and approval.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt Resolution 1423, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
I'd like to present Resolution 1424, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Sasser Electrical Systems, Inc. for the installation of LED lighting at the Spanish Fork Community Center. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this proposal is from Sasser Electrical Services, Inc. and is attached as an exhibit. This will change and provide a retrofit for LED lighting in the lobby, the library, and the multipurpose room at the Spanish Fork Community Center. The total amount of the contract, based on the alternates that are being chosen, is $48,810, and a copy of the proposal is attached as Exhibit 1.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt Resolution 1424, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1425, 2024, a resolution awarding a bid for the Spanish Fork Community Center elevator addition. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed improvement to the library and community center by adding an elevator addition to the Spanish Fork Community Center. Rollin Construction, Inc. was the lowest responsive bidder on June 25, 2024, in the amount of $340,000. A copy of their proposal, bid bond, and other documents are attached as an exhibit to the agreement, to the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion on this item? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion we approve Resolution 1425, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1426, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with Hunter Security for installation of security measures here at the Spanish Fork Community Center. Mr. Connor?
This proposed agreement is based on a proposal from Hunter Security for the installation of certain security measures at Spanish Fork Community Center. A copy of the proposed agreement is attached as Exhibit 1. The amount of the contract for the installation of the improvements is $19,960.47, and there's also monitoring fees in the amount of $25 per month. And the proposed agreement is subject to changes approved or deemed necessary by the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we adopt Resolution 1426, 2024.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
'27, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Spanish Fork and Sawgrass Consulting, LLC. Mr. Connor?
This proposed agreement is with Sawgrass Consulting LLC related to the design and construction of Spanish Main Sidewalk Project in the City of Spanish Fort. The city has been budgeting funds toward this project, and this would approve the engineering and design phase and construction phase in the event that funding becomes available to construct the proposed sidewalk improvement project. Attached to the agreement is an exhibit setting forth that the engineering and surveying and design costs will be a lump sum of $80,000 with a construction services phase of $28,000 based on approximately 8,500 linear feet of construction. Based on the length of the construction and the cost or estimated cost per foot, this will be a project that is done in phases as approved by the City Council through the budgeting process.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve Resolution 1427-2024.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. Hey, Shannon, after this meeting, get with me real quick, okay? Thank you. Yep. I'd like to present Resolution 1428, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with Mobile Fence Company for the installation of fencing at the Spanish Fort Dog Holding Facility. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed agreement with Mobile Fence Company for the construction of fencing, approximately 254 linear feet of 6-foot galvanized chain link fence with a 10-foot double gate. The proposed agreement is in the amount of proposal in the amount of $11,991 from Mobile Fence Company, and a copy of the proposal is attached as Exhibit 1.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Just any discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 1428, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
I'd like to present Resolution 1429, 2024, a resolution awarding a bid for the Spanish Fort Central Fire Station. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, the City Council solicited and received bids on June 27, 2024. Those bids are in the process of being reviewed by the architect as well as city staff to determine the lowest responsive bidder, and a subsequent recommendation will be made upon completion of that review.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? We are fully vetting and doing all our background due diligence on this to make sure it's the proper way to go, so stand by for future meetings. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1430, 2024, a resolution awarding a bid for the Spanish Fort Dog Park. Mr. Connor?
This is a proposed bid for the Spanish Fort Dog Park. The lowest responsive bid was submitted by P.L. Russell LLC in the amount of $270,921.30. A copy of the proposed bid award is attached to this agreement, subject to any changes in the contract deemed necessary by the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion? This is being introduced tonight and will be on your August 5th agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1431, 2024, a resolution awarding a bid for Denise Lane drainage modifications in the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor?
This proposed bid is for the Denise Lane drainage improvements, and the lowest responsive bidder was P.L. Russell LLC. Based on the bid submitted on June 26, 2024, a copy of the bid recommendation and proposed documents are attached as exhibits. The bid amount for P.L. Russell was $282,330. There was a bid that was lower in amount submitted by RHD's construction, but they did not qualify as a responsive bid, as they did not acknowledge an addendum that was issued that included additional items of work and also changed the bid form. They were also required to submit a non-collusion affidavit along with the bid package, which was not submitted. So this is being recommended by the engineer to award to the second lowest bid and the responsible bidder of P.L. Russell LLC in the amount of $282,330.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This item being introduced tonight will be on your August 5th agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1432, 2024, a resolution disposing of surplus property. Mr. Connor?
Alabama Code Section 11-4356 vests the authority of the municipal governing body to deal with and dispose of and handle personal property of the city. This property is no longer needed for public or municipal purposes, and therefore this would authorize the mayor and city clerk to dispose of the property by the best method deemed appropriate under the circumstances. It is one Alco Light 35 extension ladder.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council. It's being introduced tonight will be on your August 5th agenda. I'd like to introduce Resolution 1433, 2024, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama, to make application for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant administered by ADECA Law Enforcement and Traffic Safety Division. Mr. Connor?
This is an annual grant program that is offered through ADECA pursuant to the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Funding Program. In the past, the Spanish-Fort Police Department has submitted and been awarded grants for various items or purposes. This year, the plan is to submit for equipment. This would authorize the mayor and the chief of police to make application for that grant program. A copy of the grant requirements and solicitation is attached to Exhibit 1.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council. Also being introduced tonight will be on your August 5th agenda. We have one item that was added to our agenda, Resolution 1434, 2024. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, as part of the national litigation involving the opioid epidemic, the state of Alabama, as part of that litigation, has settled its claims as part of the state settlement. The local governments are encouraged to participate in the settlement process based on the allocations previously made. This resolution would authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to participate in the settlement and sign on agreements for the settlement with Kroger Company, Inc., or the Kroger Company.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt Resolution 1434, 2024.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Any other business come before the council tonight? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.